Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 7th grade concept of slope-intercept form. This is standard 7.7a in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 38 of the 2017 released STAAR test. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and then we will look at our answers together. So we have a pilot here taking a taxi from the airport to the hotel. So we've got two different things working. We've got an initial charge of $250, and then we've got $265 per mile. So we need to find y, total cost of the trip, if x is the number of miles. So x represents the number of miles. So let's make a little table here. So let's see what happens if, so I'm going to say y, total cost, and then we'll say x, this is the number of miles, right? And then I'm going to say, yeah, so miles, and so then I'm going to need what we have. We have dollars per mile. That's the 265, right? And then we've also got this 250, some more money, so 250. That's just the initial charge. So let's say we go 0 miles. Well, 0 times 265 is still 0, but you're getting charged that 250. That's the initial charge. So no matter what happens, so if x equals 0, your y is going to equal 250 because that's just what it takes to get started. Now, let's say you go 1 mile. All right, so now you're going to go 265 plus this 250. So you add that up and you're going to get 515. So that seems like a big jump, but when you go 2 miles, this 265 doubles, and that's going to be, what, 530? But that initial start charge stays the same. So the longer you go, the less impactful that initial charge is, because if you go 20 miles, obviously you're going to be spending $45, $50, but you just have an initial charge of 250. And so we've got this 250, so we add that up, and that's going to be 880. We could just keep going, but we see how this is kind of working here. And so let's take a look at our forms over here, because what we have is, we have all of these in our slope-intercept form. It's a very common form of linear equations, and so we know what y and x are. In this case, we're talking about y is our total, and x is our miles. So this is the slope. So this m is usually the slope. When we're graphing it, we are going to look at it as the change in y over the change in x. And so what are we multiplying this x by? Well, look, here's our miles. What are we multiplying our miles by? Well, we're multiplying every mile costs $265. And so we could take that and we can say, well, y equals our slope. They give that to us, is 265, because that is what is changing our x. Now this b is our y-intercept. And so where, if we were to graph this, where would this slope here, where would it start? Where would it cross this y-axis right here? And at this point, that means if we've got a 0 for x, right, and so we cancel this out, what is our y? And we've already done that. If we have a 0 for x, we've got this 250 initial charge, so that still gives us 250. And so if we were to graph this, then it would start right up around, let's say that's our 250 right here, our graph. Now you can't go negative miles, but it would start there, kind of go up there. So our answer here is J.